Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, loved people. How are you today? Welcome back to Minutes Mental Health. Thank you so much for joining me from where you are around this earth. I do really appreciate you being with me. I appreciate your comments, your likes, and your subscriptions if you love my relevant content. So on my last video, I spoke about the value of friendships, and on this video I am going to be talking to you, to me, to us, to everyone about shouting. This is a very sensitive topic. It's very intriguing to me because it's something that I have to practice or not practice on a daily basis, both where I work and also as a parent, of course. So, okay, so where do we approach? My first approach would be the psychological aspect. So, according to a lot of psychologists, they've done studies, and they've concluded that actually shouting or yelling, as they say in America, is negative, and according to studies, it can affect the brain structure of children. It can cause them stress and low self-esteem, anxiety, especially as they grow into their adult years. That it can cause a lot of fear, where children sort of hear their parents' voices because of the shouting, and I suppose it's like an echo effect. They hear the parents' voices, if maybe they're about to make the wrong decision, or but out of fear, even when the parents or guardians are not there physically with them. So it's very interesting because so that's the psychological slash biological aspect of this topic. And how about the cultural aspect? Okay, of course, me myself, I'm from South Africa, as you guys know, so I'm African, of course. So shouting is not new to me. Like, I grew up around, in an environment where shouting is normal, as in, just in general. I mean, as an African, shouting is normal. Obviously, it depends on families. Some families are very quiet, even African families, believe it or not. Some of us, even African families, there are some African families where they've never shouted because, as a family, like, it's not in their nature to shout. So the house is quiet, and that is their norm. That is their reality. Pardon me. In some families, shouting is how they express themselves. They express joy. They express, concern. Yeah, so for me, I would say it depends what kind of shouting it is. And then I'm always going to go back to my source. As I said, this whole channel means mental health. And the reason why it exists is because of God, like, putting it in my heart, in my mind, to start this journey. So, in scriptures, the Bible, to be exact, there is a proverb. So Proverbs 15:1, paraphrased: a soft answer turns away wrath. So that's why, in my own reasoning, I think it obviously depends why we are shouting. Are we shouting to warn someone from danger? If someone was stuck maybe in a building, or maybe they were sleeping and you saw them, you would shout for them to come out of the building that was maybe on fire. If a child is about to burn themselves and you are not with them, of course you're going to shout, to alert them of the danger. So that's why, and obviously it is common sense as well, I suppose, in that manner. But as we take it, if we delve deeper, depending on, I think also it depends on the child, We know our children as parents, as caregivers. We know their temperaments. We know their sort of tolerance levels. Some children are very quiet and calm natured, and all it takes is a look, So even that shouting is not then effective for them. Some children are boisterous and loud, and to be able to catch their attention, to bring them to order, you have to shout. So I think it depends on the child, it depends on the situation. Yes, and it's a very interesting topic actually that I do want your opinions. So I'm gonna please ask you to comment, like, what do you think of shouting? Especially, obviously, my channel is all about the children. My passion is the young ones. So what do you think of shouting um, at children? Like, do you agree that we have to shout at children? Do you not agree? What's your intake? Of course, depending on the different um, parenting styles. So we only can give what we know, obviously, of as adults. It will be majorly, pardon me, majorly, pardon me, majorly based on how we were raised, what kind of parenting, what kind of system or structure we had in our upbringing. So, we all know of the popular sort of style of parenting, which is gentle parenting, where parents believe that the way I understand it anyway is that everyone should just be chilled and mellow. Like, parents should be mellow. Parents should allow their children to explore, to express, and definitely, I'm 100% sure the gentle parenting style does not believe in shouting. Of course not. So yeah, I just think the way I reason is, as a parent, is okay, what is the situation? I do this at work as well. What is the situation? Who is the child? And what are the best possible outcomes for the child and the situation? So that would determine whether I shout or not. I've also, obviously, in my personal journey as a mother, it's easy for me to sort of like shout because obviously I'm African and it's normal, There's even sort of like a comedy or humor around it, For example, all this, you have an African parent when, you have an Asian parent when, all those kind of uh, uh, um, like comedies. But for me, I find myself sort of, you know, falling back sort of, it's easy, pardon me, it's easy for me to fall back on shouting because, as I've just said, that for me it is normal, it is the norm. But then I find in those moments, me sort of stopping to analyze, like, do I need to shout at my son at this moment? Do I actually need to shout at him? And I've been finding a lot of those moments and times where I sort of reprimand myself and stop myself actually and think about it. Like, does he need that yell, as Americans say? Does he need it? Like, would that benefit him at this time? So, and I tend to, especially when I'm angry, because obviously as a parent you do get angry. We all know that. I lean onto the wisdom of God, which is the scriptures, that a soft answer turns away wrath. So let's say my son does something to get me very angry, of which obviously it happened, vice versa. I'm sure I've done many things to get him angry as well. I sort of, in those like scenarios, I sort of stop and I find like I assess and say, wow, Millie, like, you're angry at this moment. If you're shouting at him while you're angry, he's not going to get the message. He's only a toddler anyway. Like, what would be the best possible response right now? So, yes, I'm just, by the help of the Holy Spirit, of course, I must not take this credit. It's God alone that's guiding me in His wisdom. I sort of think like, if I shout, yes, it's going to be easy, but that's just a reaction. I want to respond, and I want a response that will benefit not just him, but for myself, because it takes a lot of energy to shout. I work with children, as I said before. I work with currently very young children. It takes a lot of energy to shout and shout and shout. And you know, where I work, for example, you'll be shouting and the children will still be jumping, running, doing what you were telling them not to do whilst you were shouting. So is there another way? So yeah, it's very interesting. I can go on and on and on about this topic, because as I said, it's my reality. It's what I'm faced with every blessed day that God gives me, not only as a mother, as a parent, but also at work. So yeah, what do you guys think about shouting? Do you shout at your children? Why do you shout at your children? Doesn't have to be your biological children, whoever you look after. So parents, caregivers, please like, comment, subscribe. My content is relevant. My content is helpful. My content is sort of needed in parenting in this age, in this generation. So yes, I'm bragging to the glory of God. I'm being confident to the glory of God, because I know this is all His idea for me. So, and I hope that this video has been helpful. If it has, like, comment, share, subscribe, and see you on my next one. God bless you. Bye.